Hi, I'm Walter A. Williams Jr. With me is four-time PBA titleist Mark Baker. After Mark retired in the early 90s from tour, he started doing some coaching, and a couple years ago actually helped me out, got me back on my game. And we're going to look at a bunch of different bowlers here, see what kind of common faults they have, and hopefully with your good eye at coaching, you can help us out.
Exactly, Walter Ray. When you work with bowlers of different levels, there's always 2 or 3 things that are real common. Their consistency of release, their accuracy of hitting their target, and just mainly being consistent.
And hopefully everybody watching this DVD at home will get something out of this and improve their game. Well, Mark, we got our first bowler, Ed Marklow. Thanks for joining us, Ed.
Thank you very much.
And Mark?
Ed's about a 140 average bowler. We're going to watch him throw some shots and see if we can't help him.
Looks like he kind of hung onto that one. Got a good release though.
He tends to get his 4 step, straightens out, and that throws his shoulders forward, makes him come across the ball a little bit. That was a little better footwork.
Yeah. It looked like he dropped it a little bit, but that was a good release. Got a good good line to the pocket, which is what you want to do. Can't throw much better than that.
Good shot there.
You've just been bowling a couple years, right?
Right.
Okay. This ball's pretty new. Drilled it what, 5-6 months ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So before that, you were just using house balls, right?
Right.
Okay. So you're used to having, different variations of balls and stuff that didn't fit very well. And since this is really your first drilled ball, you don't know how well it's supposed to fit or whatever. But you have any problem with your thumb swelling or shrinking or anything, and the thumb not fitting quite right?
Occasionally, yes.
Okay. Well, something I notice with a lot of amateurs is that the thumb hole doesn't have any tape in it. Almost every pro I know uses some sort of tape because the thumb doesn't stay the exact same size. So something I always try to recommend to people when they get their ball drilled is to get that thumb hole drilled a little bit bigger, and then when your thumb swells, you can take some tape out or put tape in when your thumb shrinks a little bit. That way you've got a little fluctuation there, and that way you can keep the thumb feeling pretty good without doing as much. You have to run to the pro shop and get it worked out a little bit more and run back in or use baby powder to make sure you can clear out of it. So I'm not saying a ball's not fit right now, but I'm just saying, maybe in the future you might want to have it worked out a little bit more and add a piece of tape or 2 into it. And then when your thumb does swell, you can take it out and you have a little better control on the variation of size.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So he ends up here. And he tries to reach over tries to get the ball to the foul line by bending at the waist and reaching over to the foul line. That's why all his shots miss to the right. When you bend over that far, you can't fall through. Kind of a function of your body. Ed, we watched you throw a few shots. There's a couple of things Walter Ray and I picked out. You tend to stop your footwork and you throw the ball into the lane. If you finish about a foot and a half from the foul line, we're going to move you up on the approach a little bit. And make sure you continue your footwork and try to keep your head up a little higher.
Ed's going to move up a few inches, work on Mark's suggestion and see how that works with his footwork.
There you go. That's better.
Not bad.
We want to get you finished a little closer to the foul line and have a little bit more flex in your knees so the ball goes in the lane a little smoother. You're about here. We want to get you don't have to be on top of the foul line, just a little bit closer. Use it.
No sense giving yourself 61 feet instead of 60 feet.
There you go. That box you. There you go. Good.
Not bad. The other thing I'd like to see is a little better follow through. Kind of reach for the sky. Not too bad.
Not bad.
I mean, for a lower average bowler, he's got some really good fundamentals, and
It's a very good release.
I think what he just needs to do is practice it a little bit, work on his game a little bit. I think he'd definitely improve could be easily be a 180 or 190 average bowler. I crossed over on that one a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, when you go to throw the shot, make sure in your next last step you have a little bit of knee flex. You straighten out your legs, that your body tends to go forward. That's why most of your misses, I'm sure, are pulls. They come across your body. Use a little bit more of your legs, right. Take some of the strain off. That was different.
Yeah, you kind of dropped that a little bit. It's a work in progress. I mean, it's like anything. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It takes a lot of practice to get everything ingrained in, but
Not bad.
Well, Ed, one of the things I like to see is a good, strong follow through, because to me that brings everything together. It helps with your accuracy, helps with your release, so it's consistent. And to me, that's what you need. And by a good follow through, what I mean, you're reaching for the sky. Your arms should be coming straight up. Basically, when I follow through, my right arm's coming straight up, and that's it just brings everything together. Helps your form, helps you be more consistent. And for another thing, for me to key in on something like that, so you have one thing to think about instead of 8, is having that good follow through, and that'll bring everything together. Good shot. Could maybe a little bit more follow through, just a little bit stubby with it, but really kind of reach out, like you're trying to reach for the ceiling. Yeah, you kind of hung on to that one a little bit. And I don't know if that's a function of the thumb hole being a bit tight or not. It's hard to say. Watching somebody else throw the ball, when I see that, I tend to think that the thumb hole might be a little bit tight, but I'm not actually holding it, so I don't know. Not bad.
All right, Ed, we're going to watch Walt Ray throw a shot here. And while watching his follow through, how he gets through the follow through so well, also watch how good his knee bend is in his next last step.
Not bad. Well, Ed, besides some of the physical things, there's also the mental part of the game. Part of the thing is you keep tending to do the same thing where you keep tugging the ball. Well, there's another, quote, easier fix, is to make an adjustment. So basically, if you keep missing to the right for a left-hander or even a right-hander, you want to move to the right and try to get the ball into the oil for a left-hander so that you're not hooking the ball so much. Move your feet a little bit to the right, maybe move your target, maybe one board, maybe move your feet 3 or 4 boards, and see how that works. Now, the problem is also you obviously want to have good releases, so if you're actually making good execution shots, you don't have to worry about that much. However, you still need to make the adjustments depending on the lane conditions you're bowling. You can't always stand in the same place depending on where your ball goes. You need to watch that and make your adjustments appropriately. I suggest moving about 3 boards with your feet and maybe 1 board with your target. See how that works. That was a good release.
That was his best shot so far.
And that's the other thing you want to pay attention to. If you do throw a good shot, you might want to make the adjustment. Since you were a little bit light of the pocket, you might want to move back a little bit to the right, to the left to get the ball to hook up. Let's see a spare shot from you. See what you do in your spares.
Those last 2 are much better.
That was a good release. Didn't quite get the ball over far enough to pick up the spare, but your release looked pretty good. Your form and your timing and everything looked pretty good. Yeah, you needed to move a little bit further to the left. Typically, when you're picking up spares on the left side, you want to stand on the right side of the lane. Spares on the right side, you want to stand on the left side of the lane. So if you're shooting at a 7-pin, you want to be across the lane, kind of going over the middle of the lane. I kind of dropped that one a little bit.
But just by making that small adjustment, he quit pulling the ball quite as much.
Yeah. Those last few shots, you're throwing a lot better. And that's the other thing. That's the other thing to watch out for is when you are bowling, if you're making good shots or not making good shots, the type of adjustments you need to make. if you are throwing consistently bad shots, it's hard to make you don't really want to make the adjustment off of that because you don't want to keep throwing the bad shots. But if you're going to do it every single time, that's why I was suggesting making an adjustment like that. But if you're only going to do that once in a while, make the bad shot, you want to play to your most consistent shot.
Okay, we're going to watch Walter Ray throw a couple shots here real quick. We're just going to watch how good his balance is and how good his follow through is. Two of his trademarks. And you also notice the pros, especially Walter Ray, they stay at the foul line until the ball almost hits the pins. The amateurs tend to throw the ball before the ball's halfway down. They're already walking back. They don't really get to watch their ball do the entire shot. You want to stay at the foul line as long as you can to watch what the ball does. All right, Ed, we're going to watch Walter Ray throw one more shot here. Pay attention to how good his balance is at the foul line. He's got a little bit of forward lean. His head stays on top of his legs. And he stays at the foul line until the ball almost hits the pins. That's a real good tip for amateurs to stay at the foul line a little bit longer.
I wish it was always that easy. Well, the idea basically to get your good balance and get a good release and a good follow through and a good practice, and that'll definitely improve your game. I think getting your balance a little better, scoot up a little bit. I think you've got a good release, just maybe a little bit more consistency with it and practice, that'll help that.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mark, we've got Tom Burgess with us, a little better bowler.
Yes, Walter Ray. Tom averages 208 and bowls in 2 leagues. Will be interesting to see what we can help him with.
Tom throws the ball pretty well.
Tom throws it real nice.
I always find it kind of harder to work with better players because it seems like they have less things to fix. But
Most higher average players will have a real specific thing they want to work on, a condition they struggle with or a release they struggle with. So high average players are more specific.
pretty good. Those three pretty good shots there. But the only thing I can see is when he's coming up from his backswing, it's like he kind of almost loses his wrist strength. He's got a nice cupped wrist through the swing, and when he gets right here, it's almost like he backs off on it a little bit.
He stands up on it a little bit. When you stand up on the ball, it makes you lose your wrist. When you get in trouble, Tom, do you leave a lot of flat tens? Yep. It's just he comes up out, push away gets a little long. He comes up out of it and he loses his wrist position, so his ball rolls too soon. Doesn't hit quite hard enough on the back end.
Yeah, that one did even more. You might. It's hard to say exactly what, but it's like you got right here, and your wrist almost rolled back in your backswing. So you can try to keep it that way, and then lift through it that way instead of you're kind of rolling your wrist back right when you start your upswing.
An easy way to fix that, Tom, is to just shorten your push weight a little bit. If your push weight gets too long and too extended, all that weight gets out on your hand, it'll tend to break your wrist back early. So make your push weight a little shorter, and you'll stay in a little better balance, and you keep your wrist a little more firm.
Yeah, the one thing you might want to work on is actually learning to throw the ball straighter for your 10 pins and even all your spares. I think one of the things that most of the top players do on tour is they tend to throw the ball very straight at their spares. The few spares you hook the ball at, but really throwing the ball as straight as you can at the spares is a really good thing just because you don't have to worry about the lane conditions. If you bowl the same place all the time, you don't have to worry about, okay, this is where I need to stand this week because next week I'm bowling on different lane conditions. But if you're bowling same house conditions all the time, you can stand here and look at there, and your spare should be pretty similar week after week. And if you're bowling on, like we do on tour, bowl one house that hooks a lot more, next house maybe it doesn't hook very much at all, and in between, and so you don't have to vary your feet and your target all the time for all your different spares. So if you throw the ball perfectly straight, you can basically take the lane out of play, and it's where you stand, where your target is, and throw the shot. So that might be something we could work on also to help your spare game, because picking up spares is definitely a big part of the game, because it's hard to throw strikes every single time.
Just try shortening the push weight just a little bit, Tom.
Yeah. Let that arm swing a little bit.
Not bad.
Yeah, a little bit. Looked like you stayed in a little bit. You still, when you get in the backswing, try to keep that wrist about the same position when you're coming up. Get a little more lift on the ball. You got a nice turn on the ball. You don't need a lot more lift, but it's like you're losing just a little bit of your hit when you're rolling your wrist back a little bit. The big power players, what they do is they keep their wrist here, and then they lose their wrist right at the point of release. That's when they kick that extra revolutions in. It looked pretty good.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by shortening your push weight, it'll make the ball swing from your shoulder a little bit better. If you get the push weight out too long, you'll tend to grab it in front of you, and you'll pull it back and have a muscled swing. There you go.
Not bad.
Nice shot.
Let's work on shooting at a 10 pin. When I teach somebody how to use shoot at a 10 pin, I like to do it with a ball that hooks a lot, because that'll teach you to throw the ball a little straighter. You can see if you're actually throwing it straighter. Then you can I would suggest using a spare ball for your spares in league and tournament. But for practice, I think it's a good idea to learn how to throw it straighter. That way you know you are throwing it straighter in case you do run into lanes that do hook a lot. That spare ball will even still hook a little bit. So let's work on that. So even on a full rack, even though we're shooting at a full rack, just basically pretend you're going to pick out the 10 pin.
That's close.
That's close. Need to get a little bit more right, but you flatten your ball out a little bit, which is what you need to do. And to me, that's the reason why you want to learn how to throw the ball straighter, is use a ball that hooks more if you do hook the ball. Because if you're throwing a hook at it and you're going at the 10 pin, it's either going to hook by or it's going to go in the channel. And those are obviously two bad results. So if you throw the ball really straight, you don't have to worry about the ball going in the channel or hooking away from it. So the straighter you can throw at it. And one thing you might want to work on is actually almost on a backup ball. Maybe get your position a little weaker, and then when you come up, just basically come straight out and lift the thumb. Have the thumb come out, but lift straight up instead of trying to turn around the ball. Okay. Try that. You know how to throw a backup ball?
Yeah.
Well?
Not very well.
Well, it's almost the same thing except no backup spin, but it's kind of the halfway between the backup and the hook. So. That's still hooking a little bit. That's all right. I mean, it's something to work on. So let's try it again.
Another thing, Tom, when you are shooting a 10 pin, try to walk dead straight. If you walk towards your target, if you walk towards your 10 pin, it tends to make the ball hook a little bit earlier. You want to as straight as you can at your spares.
There you go.
Much better. Much better.
To me, that's a perfect 10 pin shot. I see people practice their 10 pins on a full rack and just pick off the 10 pin. And really, that's not what you want to do, because you're giving yourself such little room for error. If you miss a little bit to the right, it's going to go in the channel. If you miss left, you still got a lot of room to the left. But in that case, you're hitting a 6 and a 10 pin. That's really where you want to hit, just left of the 10 pin. That way you've got room to the right and a little bit of room to the left.
All right, Tom, we're going to watch Walter Ray throw a couple strike shots here. Let's try to focus in on his wrist. He's going to keep his wrist a little bit firmer. That gets the ball to rev up down the back end of the lane. See, when Walter got to the top of his backswing, it stayed firm. Sometimes on your shots, it tends to break back a little bit. That's why you leave those flat tens. Walter keeps his wrist real firm all the way through the shot. That's why it finishes so good on the back end. Another thing we were watching in your shots, you notice in Walter Ray's second step, his push away goes right on top of his right foot. Doesn't extend too far out. Some shots you were extending a little too far and they get you out of balance early. So the push away just needs to be right on top of your foot so you have good balance.
Well, I left the 10 pin.
The other thing Walter Ray talked about shooting a 10 pin, this guy is world class at this. He may be the best ever. I think he's missed 2 in the last 5 years.
I wish that's all.
Like Walter Ray mentioned, he didn't shoot it straight in the 10 pin. He got a little bit more to the left side of the 10 pin. It gives him a little bit room for error. Us mere mortals need a little bit room for error on shooting 10 pins.
Yeah, I like to have as much room as I can, and so when I'm shooting that 10 pin, that's perfectly where I want to shoot at it. Now, as you notice, that's a hooking ball, and when I came up almost like I'm throwing a backup ball, so that it goes really straight. It's rolling over the thumb hole. Basically, it's not going to hook very much. Takes the lane out of play. I can go basically any lane condition and play that same similar shot. I don't have to worry about what the lanes are doing. But I also use a spare ball because I like to, in case I accidentally hit a little bit, I don't want the ball jumping left or right. So even though I got a full rack, I'm going to shoot it at a 10 pin, see if I can do it the way I want to.
No surprise there, Walter Ray making another 10 pin. One good tip Walter Ray had earlier was, especially for the bowlers in the 150 and higher average getting a little better, when you practice, don't just throw it full racks. Don't just hit the reset button and keep throwing it full racks. Shoot all your spares and develop a system that you can use every different house you bowl at.
Yeah, when I practice, I like to keep score and throw my strike shots and my spare shots because spares are still important, especially on the pro level.
We just worked with Tom, and Tom throws the ball very well. We worked on a couple different things, shortening his push away and trying to keep his wrist a little firmer to increase his average even higher than 208.
Mark, we've got another bowler with us, Barb Wisman.
Barb has been bowling for 2 months. He's averaging between 120 and 130, and new beginners are always fun to work with.
I'll tell you what, for somebody who's only bowled 2 months, she's got very good form. Throws the ball pretty nice, but obviously there's still some things we can work on.
She has a real athletic stance. We're not going to touch her stance. She gets started real well. Good shot.
Yep. Didn't pick up the spare, but that's okay. I mean, it's part of it. What we're looking at is technique right now. We noticed a couple things.
The first thing I noticed is very common with beginners is the rhythm of her approach. Her first 2 steps are real long and they're real fast, and her tendency is to slow down as she throws it. That makes the ball go left and right because it makes for an inconsistent release. So what we want Barb to do is slow down your first 2 steps and make your cadence more of a 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow them down and then speed up as you go. Not bad. Not
a
bad at
little
all.
better. Might even want to get that ball moving just a little bit.
Yeah, your first step in a 4-step approach, you always want to make the first step and the ball kind of go together. You don't want them with the first step to start and your arm to come back. Make the first step and the ball kind of go together in balance. You say 1, 2, 3, 4.
Might even, you got long legs, like both Mark and I, so it's natural you want to take all this, the approach, but might help to scoot up just a little bit. That way you'll slow down a little bit because you are kind of rushing up there real quick. You take your first couple steps nice and slow and then get into it and go ahead and fire through that last step. There, that's very good.
Not bad at all.
Throw another shot like that, get a little comfortable with it, and then I'm going to work with something else on you.
Very good.
Good. You're a little bit slow on the push away. I'm going to get the ball pushing away. As soon as you're taking that step, that's the first thing. Get that ball moving. What you're doing is you're kind of taking a step and then going. So you move your foot and your arm at the same time.
Just like you're walking down the street. You don't need to run too
Yeah.
on the first
Your first couple steps, they're nice, easy steps. It's those last 2 you want to be a little more aggressive with. Not bad. Not bad. All right, another thing we want to work with is your wrist position. You've got a little tiny hook, which is good, but a little more hook can actually go a lot more. Take advantage of the lane conditions that are out there, something that most beginners especially don't know anything about. They oil the lanes, most bowling centers are oiled so that there's a lot of oil in the middle of the lane, less oil on the outside, so there's more friction on the outside. So if you got side rotation on the ball, if you're a left-hander, if you miss to the left, it's going to hit that friction and hook back to the right. And if you miss to the right, it's going to hit that oil and slide a little bit. Now that's a typical lane condition. That's not always the case, but that tends to be the case more often than not. So basically what you're doing is you're creating more room for error. So that's one of the reasons why the pros put a spin on the ball. Take advantage of the lane conditions. The other reason is to get the drive into the pins. So it gets the pins to fly around a little better. So what we want to do is when you hold the ball, what you want to do is you want to keep your wrist in what we call a strong position. You don't want to get your wrist backed up. You do a pretty good job. When you get in your backswing, you're kind of releasing a little bit of backswing, but you want to keep your wrist as strong as you can. The other thing you want to do is keep your ball on the inside so that the ball's not here, but more on this side. The ball's closer to your body. You want to have your hand on the outside so that when you come up, you're coming up on the outside of the ball as opposed to coming up right underneath it.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I'm releasing the ball with my hand like this?
Basically.
Okay.
What they call a handshake release. That way you get a little bit of turn on the ball.
Okay.
That'll help get a little more side rotation on the ball. That was good rotation.
Not bad.
You kind of forgot to get the push away. I mean, you only got to do about 3 or 4 things, but that's the basic idea. You want to get that push away going, and then you also want to get your hand position right, and then you also want to get your wrist so that your wrist is not flopping back. That's a real common thing, especially among ladies, because their wrists aren't as strong. But you seem to be doing a pretty good job of holding it so it's not getting too far back. If it is a problem, they've got the wrist devices which will help keep your wrist straight and even a little bit in the strong position. But all the pros, what they do is their wrists are actually curved a little bit cupped, and especially the big power players, they're really cupped. But it takes a lot of strength to do that. So remember, get that ball going right as soon as you take your step. In fact, that almost might be the first thing you think about. Push the ball. So push the ball and get your steps going. See how that works. Well, we're doing a good job of messing you up.
Just make your first step a little slower.
Just kind of push the ball out there, and then just kind of go with it. You want actually it's really an easy kind of motion, but you've got a good, nice fluid motion. You're just a little bit too quick at the beginning. So if you can get a little slower, and you can get really aggressive on your last couple of steps. I think that's one of the keys to my game is being real aggressive the last couple of steps where I'm really aggressive through the swing. I do a lot of follow through, really come through the ball.
Much better.
There you go.
Much better.
You got that ball spinning in there real nice too.
Good shot.
I know it's a new ball. When you start getting comfortable with this, the next thing you do is have Tony redrill the ball and give you a fingertip. That'll actually give you more lift on the ball. Right now you're using a conventional grip where you're putting your fingers all the way down to your knuckle. I use my ball is drilled for a fingertip, so I'm just putting it down to the fingers as opposed to your ball is going all the way down to your knuckles.
Right.
So this allows the fingers to stay in the ball longer. Your thumb comes out first, and then the fingers will lift the ball a little bit more. And that way you can get a little bit more side rotation on the ball. It'll help get a little bit more hook in the ball. Like I said, takes advantage of lane conditions and also gets a little more drive into the pins. But you might want to get a little bit used to getting your rhythm, get used to some of these other things first, and then go into that, because you start changing too many things, it gets to be overwhelming. So.
Not bad.
Very good. Now you're getting a nice rotation on the ball. It looks very good.
Barb, what we're going to watch on Walter Ray right here is watch Walter Ray's rhythm. His first 2 steps are fairly easy, and then he accelerates through the shot. But his first 2 steps are like he's just walking down the street. And what Walter Ray talked about, when you go to a fingertip, it's much easier to get your thumb out and the ball kind of, the way the ball rests on your fingers, it's easier to create rotation. And the things we worked on with Barb were slowing down her first 2 steps and walking by the ball a little bit more, trying to keep your wrist a little firmer and have a little more on the side to create a little bit more rotation.
Well, Mark, we've got another young lady bowling with us, Tiffany.
Tiffany Chi, she averages 190, throws the ball real well. Let's see if we can help her.
Pretty nice.
Not too bad.
Got a real strong release.
Very good release. Good balance.
Good timing.
That 190 average should be going up here pretty soon.
About the only thing I can really see is maybe her push away. Get her push away started just a little bit sooner.
Make it a little softer.
Yep. How are you shooting your 10 pins? Let's see what you got. Even without the spare ball, see what you do.
Very good.
Very good. A lot of times, some of the higher average players actually have trouble with the 10 pins, so just wanted to make sure you didn't have any problems, and looks like you don't. Well, Tiffany's got great form. She's got good balance. I'd kind of like to see her get her push away just a little sooner, but she's got great balance at the line. I mean, she holds her foot, her body right there at the line. She's looking great.
Throws the ball well. I just like to see her get a little more drive out of her back leg. Tiffany tends to leave a few flat 10s. Sometimes her right leg doesn't push off on it too hard.
Able to pick up those 10 pins, that's a good thing. Even though it's not her spare ball, she's showing she's able to throw the ball a little bit straighter for her 10 pins and pick it up.
Looks like Tiffany's pocket percentage is fairly high. We need to work on getting a little better carry percentage.
Got away from her a little bit.
Yep, push away got a little quick. Like that time, she got by the ball much better. If the push away gets too quick and gets too long, it's hard to get your legs to get by your swing. Like with Walter Ray, he does it nice and easy. He gets here, he walks by the ball very easy. Nice shot.
Another nice shot. And you said you want to see a little more drive?
Yeah, on your back leg, Tiffany, just make sure that when you go into your slide, that back leg has a little bit of push to it. That'll bring your swing through a little quicker, give you a little more carry.
A little more acceleration, that last step.
Something you have no problem with.
That's something I've always been good at with bowling.
That was a nice
Yeah.
shot. Good shot.
You get good acceleration through there. To me, having a good, strong follow through, it brings everything together, and you get a little more consistent with the release, a little more consistent with your targeting. Still like to see you get that ball moving just a little bit sooner.
Shoots those well.
Yeah, that's great.
She has excellent form. All right, Tiffany, we're going to watch Walter Ray throw a couple shots here. We're going to focus on two things: how smooth his push away is and consistent every time, and his next to last step, which is Walter's 4-step, how hard he drives off his 4-step. As you notice, Walter Ray doesn't walk up there very fast, but his ball speed is he can throw it as hard as he wants. That's by having such an easy push away, being so consistent, and Walter really drives off his legs.
That better?
Can't do much better than that. Walter Ray's always had a good push weight. He just lays it on top of his foot, and he's always in good bounce. To start, if his first 2 steps are the same, the last 3 tend to be the same. Most bowlers tend to get in trouble in their first 2 steps. They get real quick at the push away or real late, and they try to catch up to it later in the swing.
Well, I use a 5-step approach. She uses 4-step. I'll actually go with a 4-step and show you what I do with 4 steps. Let's see.
Walter went to a 4-step approach on that shot. The speed control was almost exactly the same. He started the push away with his right foot and was still nice and smooth, and still always drives off that right leg in his next to last step.
Yeah, and one of the things I wanted to show was when I'm doing that, I'm getting a good extension with the ball. Where you're kind of, when you're doing it, you're kind of getting started with your foot and then pushing it. It's like you're not, get that ball in motion just a little bit sooner. Get a little more of a freer swing that way. See if I can do that again.
One thing to key on with Walter Ray talking about the push away is make sure you don't have a short first step and a long push away. That'll cause an imbalance right in the beginning. Walter Ray pushes it and his step goes right under his push away, so he's in good balance.
Well, Mark, we've got another bowler with us, Jeff Duncan.
Jeff is a 185 bowler, and we're going to watch him to throw some shots and see if we can help him.
Not bad.
Jeff has no problem getting it down there.
No. Even though he doesn't take up a lot of approach, kind of taking short steps, that last step he gets into it and fires it down there pretty nice.
Not bad at all.
Not bad. My imagination on the second ball hooked more than the first one.
Yep. He tends to get the ball into his backswing a little late, and he hangs on to his push away. So it gets his backswing gets back late, so he pulls it down. That's kind of why he throws it so hard. He's relaxed his swing a little bit. On your first shot, let's just relax your swing, let it swing back a little easier instead of pulling out and holding it in front of you. Yes, let it swing out, let it swing back so your transition is a little smoother.
That looked
Wow,
real good.
There we go.
Looked real
Good
good.
shot.
Yep, a little bit easier. You know, go ahead and get through the ball at the swing at the point of release. But the first couple of steps, nice and easy. Get your body in position.
Much better. That was an
Wow.
excellent shot. Swing was much freer. The ball rolled
great.
much better on the back end.
That looks great.
There we go. Now the ball's got some power behind it.
Yeah,
You freed up your swing, and actually you made your swing softer. It actually made the ball hit harder. Having a real fast swing and jerking it back and jerking it through, it won't give you more power. It'll actually give you less power. Swing being freer, the ball's going to hit a lot harder. That was better. Give the ball a chance to hook.
Yeah.
Big guys have a tendency to throw the ball too hard. I know when I still bowl, I throw the ball way too hard sometimes. If the swing gets to the top of your backswing a little late, you have to pull it down, and when you pull it down, you over accelerate your swing. So having an easier push away, letting it swing back instead of pulling it back will make your ball hook a little more.
Kind of wanted to see that, see how the 10 pin was. Even some of the better average players like yourself have a little trouble with the 10 pin, partly because they're hooking the ball at it. And if you're hooking the ball at a 10 pin, it's like you hit it just perfect, because if you don't, it's either going to go in a channel or it's going to hook away from it like that one did. So basically, you want to learn how to throw the ball straighter and even get a spare ball, like a plastic ball that will actually go straighter, so that when you're shooting at that 10 pin, you don't have to worry so much about whether it's going to go in the channel or hook away. You have a little bit more room for error. That's one of the things that bowlers are looking for, is that most room for error, so you don't have to throw it dead perfect every single time, because I wish I could, but I don't throw the ball dead perfect every time. Always looking for a little bit of room for error. A plastic ball I think would help, because when you're hooking a ball, it's wanting to go left. So in order to get that ball to hit that 10 pin, you've only got a little bit of room down there for it to hit there. Whereas if you're throwing a ball perfectly straight, you've got about 12 inches for the ball to get there. Well, what I would suggest is someday bowl a couple games. Right. Every shot, you're trying to pick up the 10 pin.
Okay.
First shot, second shot, first shot, second shot. So when you got a full rack, shoot at your 10 pin. And then the other thing I want you to do is learn how to throw the ball a little straighter. It's good to have that hook. The hook's good for throwing strikes. You don't need a hook for throwing spares. The best thing to do is throw the ball really straight at your spares, because you bowl different lane conditions. You don't have to worry about what the ball's doing. If you bowl the same house all the time, it's not so bad to throw a hook. But especially the 10 pin, you want to throw the ball straighter, because you don't have to worry about the ball hooking away from it all the time.
That makes sense.
Okay, so what we're going to try and do is learn how to kill the ball a little bit. Okay. So what I would do is, you got your hand on the right side of the ball.
Yes, sir.
Okay, try to get your hand kind of underneath it, and when you're coming up, just come straight up. You don't want to lift around the ball. Basically, come straight up. Maybe even kind of like a backup ball, even come out the other way, okay, and see what happens there. Let's see what happens.
Sure.
But yeah, you want to pay attention to where you're standing over there,
yes,
and I don't know, target around the fourth arrow somewhere. See what that does.
Not bad.
That's a little straighter,
That was a lot straighter.
a little bit straighter, but you could even do a little bit more. And it looked like you were a little bit left of the target. Kind of hard to see from angle over there, but you know, the idea is to figure out where you want to stand and where you want to target at, because everybody's different. Everybody walks to the line a little bit different. You know, where I stand, where you stand, where we're targeting is going to be a little bit different. But basically, you want to be somewhere around the fourth arrow. I mean, you don't have to be, third arrow, fourth arrow, fifth arrow, something like that. But as long as you find something that works for you, that's why I say you want to bowl like, 2 games every shot. Even exactly like this one at this full rack, shoot at a 10 pin, see what happens. And when you're shooting a 10 pin on a full rack, what you really want to do is hit both the 6 pin and the 10 pin, not just a 10 pin. Because if you're just picking off the 10 pin, that means you've got only a little tiny bit of room to the right, and you got all this room to the left. If you're hitting both the 6 and the 10 pin, then you've got room to the right and room to the left.
That's fair.
That looked good.
Much better.
Now you just barely clipped the 3 pin, so that probably would have picked up a 10 pin. But it's something to pay attention. You either need your target area, maybe it needs to be one more board to the right. I don't know. Like I said, kind of hard to see your angle over here, whether or not you're hitting your target or not. But you need to pay attention to that, where your ball's crossing at the arrows. And some people don't always hit exactly where they're looking. Some people might look at a target, and it's amazing how many pros even will actually hit about 2 boards left of where they're looking. But as long as you're consistent with it, and you see that what you think you hit is what you're actually works for you. As long as you're consistent with that, it doesn't matter. But what you want to do is say, okay, I'm looking at 20. If I hit 20 and I went to the left, then I need to either move my feet left or move my target 1 board to the right. That make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Try that again. Maybe target maybe another board to the right of where you have been. Yeah, it looks like you tugged out a little bit. And that's just what comes with practice. And the more you do it, the more you become used to it and become second nature. and then you can, you know, pick up those 10 pins all the time. And if you're missing one 10 pin a game, that's 10 pins a game in average. You know, that adds up a lot. And if you're missing a lot more than that, that's even more. That looked real good. A bit, maybe a pinch to the right, but at least that would be your miss to the right. So maybe move your target one board left, or like I said, maybe you missed that one a little bit to the right. Maybe that's where you want to be, but you're just a little bit off to the right. It's hard to say, but that's something you need to pay attention what works for you, where you're standing. You know, maybe move your feet a little bit, adjust or whatever. But
Okay, so if I wanted to go a little bit more to the left, I would move to the left?
no, you would actually move your feet to the right. You would, so it would be like a pivot point. So if you keep your target point the same and you move to the right, what happens? Your line, it goes to the left.
I got you.
So
That's right.
so basically, if you picked off the 10 pin, to me that's a little bit too far to the right. So if you like where your target was and you threw the ball where you wanted to, then I would move my feet one board to the right and keep that same target.
I got you.
Okay.
Got a player now.
Right there. That's perfect. You know, bowl a game or two that way, throwing the ball first, second shot that way. See how that works. You'll become really comfortable with it. And I'd even recommend getting a spare ball. You're learning how to throw the ball straighter, but every once in a while you're going to bowl in a lane condition that really hooks a lot, and that ball is just going to dive away no matter what you do with it, unless you throw it perfectly straight. But if you're throwing a plastic ball or something like that, it's actually going to go a little bit straighter. The lane conditions aren't going to trick it as much.
We're going to watch Walter Ray throw some shots. And watch the transition of his push away. He pushes out nice, and it swings back nice and easy. He has no pull in his swing whatsoever. See, it's smooth on the way back, and then he gets aggressive on the way down. You're pulling it out and holding on to it and having to pull it back and then pull it down. His swings out, his swings back, and the weight comes down so he can accelerate on the very bottom of the swing. That's why his shots are so consistent. Walter Ray's going to throw a 10 pin here. What you can always tell with Walter Ray throwing 10 pins, especially on TV, you can hear his ball thump going down the lane. That's because Walter Ray comes out of it so straight behind it, it rolls over his thumb hole, but his ball never hooks, and his spare percentage is about 99% shooting 10 pins. So you can hear it about 25, 30 feet go right over top the thumb hole. That takes the hook right out of play. As Walter said, he left the 3 pin standing, hit between the 6 and the 10. That's why he's world-class shooting 10 pins.
And even though there's pins not standing down there for the 10 pin, I'm going to shoot at the 10 pin.
When you're doing that at home and you're practicing, as long as you keep the ball on the deck and not hit the 3 pin, you've made the 10 pin. So Jeff, we worked on your push away, making it a little softer so the transition to your backswing is a little smoother. That'll give you a little more turn on the back end, get your hand around a little bit better, and trying to change how you shoot your 10 pins. A little straighter, a little flatter to get that percentage up a little higher.
And not just a 10 pin, all your spares. I think it's a good idea to throw the ball pretty straight all your spares, except for maybe the ones with the sleepers behind it. But even those, a lot of times I'll even still use a spare ball and go straight at them. But I think your game looks good. I think with a few tips, I think you're going to really improve. Well, Mark, we've got a different type of bowler this time, Tom Candiotti.
Tom is a 211 average bowler, but Tom also has a little different background than the average bowler. 17 years he played professional baseball. So with a little better hand-eye coordination than the average bowler, we're expecting big things from Tom. See ya?
Interesting. Mark noticed that your eyes kind of come down about halfway through your approach. It's like you're looking down the lane, and then all of a sudden it looks almost like you're looking at the dots. But I mean, it's just from the side looks like your eyes change a little bit halfway through your approach. And Mark thinks that's part of the reason why you tend to tug the ball a little bit. I think the thing is to keep your eyes on the same place. So,
All the way through.
like
Yes.
at the target. So you're
Right.
looking at the arrows. Just keep your
keep
eyes
on the
there.
arrows.
Keep right at target then.
Yeah.
Once the catcher doesn't move.
That's
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, I look good. A lot better. Yeah.
That'll make the
Better
ball feed to the
projection.
right a little more, so you can probably move right in the lane a little bit. And your back, the difference was your back leg doesn't go as high up. When you bring your eyes close at the release, your head will tend to come down to, to look at your target, your head will come down. If your head comes down, your back leg will go up. That'll make your ball jump left. There you go.
Oh, that looked great.
Much better.
Man, that looked great.
Much better.
Looks good.
See, your ball's not spinning as much.
Right.
Staying behind a little longer.
Right.
That's 4 in a row. The ball didn't go left. Roll came up higher. You're not spinning it. Your back leg staying lower. With your eye staying on your target, your back leg staying down. So now your accuracy got better. Your swing is going through your target every time. When your eyes were coming down, you were cutting your swing off. So you'd come around it. That's why it would go left so early.
All right, keep my eyes straight.
Much better. Big difference.
Get back on the regionals now.
Yeah, there you go. How about shooting a 10 pin?
What's that?
How about shooting a 10 pin? Let me see. Let me see with your strike ball.
Strike ball?
Yeah, a little tougher with the strike ball. I know. That's the idea.
Not bad.
Well,
It's supposed to be a 10 pin.
well, it hooked a little bit more. I'm sure if you use your plastic ball, it probably been pretty close to the 10 pin, but that ball hooked a little bit more. It does have a little bit of hook, but you did throw it straighter, and that's one thing I wanted to see is if you did throw the ball straighter in your spares. Go ahead and throw another one.
That's pretty good.
That's a little better. You definitely cut down your hook, which is one of the things. Even there's a lot of better players still have trouble with their spares because when they're hooking the ball at their spares, they're hooking away from the 10 pin. So you cut down the hook a little bit. It could be a little bit more, and it wouldn't hurt you to maybe practice that a little bit with the ball that hooks like that, on especially lane conditions that really hook. Going late one night when they haven't been oiled for a little while, and practice your 10 pin shot with your hook ball. And that way you can learn to flatten it down a little bit better. And then when you use your spare ball, it's that much easier because it's going to go that much straighter. And even all your other spares, all the single pins should be thrown at dead straight. You don't bowl a lot of tournaments, but when you do bowl different places, you know that the lane conditions are going to be different. And if you don't have to worry about the lane conditions on your spares so much, stand here, target there, and it's automatic. But if you always got to worry about, well, because I hooked the ball a little bit, I got to make bigger adjustments with my feet, then you got to worry about that. But if you throw the ball pretty straight, it's a lot less worry.
That was nice.
That was very good.
Very good.
And actually, if you were picking up a 10 pin on a full rack, that's exactly where I'd want you to hit. You want to hit the 6 and a 10. You don't want to hit just a 10 pin because then you've only got a little tiny bit of room to the right because otherwise that's going to go in the channel. And if you hit too much to the left, if you're hitting a 3 pin, you might be missing a 10 pin. So if you're hitting both the 6 and the 10, you got room to the left and room to the right. So.
Now from the side, in the front view, we'll get to watch Walter Ray, and you'll watch Walter Ray's eyes. They never leave his target.
Just like that.
Big advantage in your target, keeping your eyes on it.
Like I did for you, make you shoot at the 10 pin. See if I can shoot at that 10 pin.
Walter will take his hand out of it. You'll actually hear the ball roll over the thumb hole. and will not hook.
I kind of want to throw a little tiny backup ball so it goes really straight, and you should be able to hear it thumping. A little bit to the right, but still got the 10 pin. And that's the thing, I want to have a little bit of room for error so that if I do miss, it's still going to pick up the 10 pin. If I was just trying to pick off the 10 pin and missed by that much, it probably would have went in the channel. So. That's a little better.
So we just worked with Tom Candiotti. We found one thing that was a big flaw in his game. His eyes moved as he threw the ball. By getting his eyes to focus on his target longer, it helped change a few of the flaws in his game. His back legs stayed down, he didn't come around the balls more, and he followed through better, and the shots definitely reacted a lot better.
Yeah, you were throwing the ball great after that. I'm looking forward to seeing you on tour next year.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Hi, Mark. We've got another athlete with us bowling, Mark Grace.
Mark Grace, 16-year veteran of the Major League Baseball. Little lefty, throws the ball real well, has a nice roll on it, averages about 180, 190. We're going to try to get that average up over 200.
Mark's got a great power game, which is a big advantage in bowling. Got the big, strong hook. You can play the lane conditions, and lane conditions really help that a lot. Little drop on that one. He definitely hung on to that one a little better.
First thing I'd say is I'd probably ask him what his eyes are looking at, because his last step, he tends to cross over a lot in his last step. He gets the ball to the left too soon. One thing I noticed with Mark is he has a lot of hand. He puts a lot of torque on it, the ball hooks a lot. What I'd have Mark do is work on making his last step a little straighter. His last step, he tends to step over quite a bit. He gets the ball left of his target and makes a hook too soon. I'd have him move his eyes a couple boards to the right and just make your last step a little straighter and see if you get the ball through the front part of the lane a little longer before it starts its hook.
You also want to move your feet a little bit to the right. If you keep your feet the same place, you move your target inside, it's just going to hook more away.
Just like that. Good shot.
It's a good shot. Not a good result, but that's a good shot. That's part of bowling, though.
We're just trying to get his ball to go down the lane a little farther. Being lined up is critical.
Kind of took that a little bit.
He came in a little bit, not too bad. Go ahead and shoot the spare.
And Mark left a 2-7 split. It's called the baby split. The pins are fairly close to each other. The ball can actually take out both pins. If you hit just left of the 2 pin, which is the pin on the right side, the ball should deflect into the 7 pin if you throw it fairly straight. The problem is Mark throws kind of a little hook, so he's got a little bit more of a delicate shot. He's got to just clip that 2 pin just right so the ball deflects in the 7. And the other option is he could actually hit the 2 pin into the 7, where he hit the right of the 2 pin. That's not the preferred method, but it is another option. Usually if a player does that, it's because he made a little bit of a mistake, but you take what you can get. So let's see how your spare works. Well,
Close.
it is close. I mean, and that's the one problem with throwing a big, strong hook. The spares really don't need a hook. Spares, you're actually better off throwing the ball really straight at your spares. And when you first started bowling, you probably threw the ball pretty straight.
Right.
And then you learned how to throw the big hook. And now we're asking you to learn to throw the ball straight again.
Okay.
So it might take a little bit to learn that, but what I like to do is your first shot, second shot for a couple games, just shoot at the 7 pin. Because that's going to be that's your toughest pin, right?
Right. By far.
By far. The 10 pin, you can always hook it into it. But the 7 pin, you're either going to hook away from it or it's going to go in the channel. And if once in a while, you can pick it up. But for the most part, you need a lot of oil out there to help you get the ball going straight. And that's the other reason I recommend having a plastic ball so it will go straighter. But if you learn how to throw it straighter, I would still recommend having a plastic ball, but it's like the best of both worlds. You can throw it straighter, and you got the help with the bowling ball. So let's see if we can help you with that straight ball. So let's stand where you normally do for your 7-pin and see if we can do that. You're doing a good thing. Stand on the other side of the lane.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, you cut your hook down pretty good, but you just didn't get it far enough, not far enough to the left. But
On your strike shot, you've got your wrist in a really strong position, which is real good.
Yep.
Just try to take your wrist, relax it, and just kind of almost break it back a little bit.
yep. There. Oh,
That's
that's
it.
excellent.
Perfect.
That's perfect. Oh my
Shot.
God.
By taking
No
that
way.
wrist out, makes your thumb actually lead the shot, and the ball won't hook.
Yeah, and that's really what you want to do. You want that ball to go dead straight, because you bowl across the country when you're out, doing games and stuff. And the lane conditions aren't the same everywhere. No. So some places hook, some places, don't hook very much at all. If you're throwing the ball really straight, you don't have to worry about it. You can stand in the same place, look at the same target. If you're throwing the ball straight, it doesn't matter. So definitely a good idea to learn how to throw the ball straight. That last shot you threw was basically perfect, and I would incorporate that on all your single pin spares and even some of your combination spares. But definitely throwing the ball straight like that is going to help your game a lot. And next time you have a match with Tom, you might even might even take some from him. That's all right. Well, I mean, it's like anything. It takes practice to do it. You threw that one shot really good. That one you kind of grabbed it a little bit. But it's something that, what I say, take a couple of games and just first shot, second shot, second shot, even with the full rack or not, try to hit it so that the ball is actually hitting the 4 and the 7-pin. If you don't want to be picking off the 7-pin because that doesn't give you any room to the left. So if you're hitting the 4-pin, that means you got a little bit of room to the right, a little bit of room to the left.
That was better.
Good shot.
That was a good
release.
shot.
Now, Mark. Now, being a power player, even on the left side, you're going to probably have some problem with the ball return, right?
Always.
Yeah, when you throw a big hook like that, unless you're walking around the ball return, it's going to get in your way. As a right-hander, when I was younger and when I tried to hook the ball, I actually learned how to basically walk left. So when I walked towards the lane, I would actually open my shoulders up. By drifting left, it opens your shoulders up so you can project the ball and you can get around the ball return. It does two good things.
Right.
As for a left-hander, you want to do the opposite. You want, well, basically the same thing, but in reverse. So when you're opening up, you want to open up your shoulders this way. You kind of walk this way instead of walking. You're kind of walking over to the right. So the ball return is going to get in your way. You can't get too far left in the lane or too far in the middle of the lane. So that if you can learn how to open up your shoulders a little bit and walk around and maybe walk around the ball return, I think that would help you, especially on really dry lanes.
Right.
Walter Ray is going to show the difference in his footwork. He's going to start, instead of walking dead straight, he's going to walk a little bit to the left. That'll open his shoulders and his hips up and make the ball go left to right a little bit easier.
That's kind of my medium hook. I drift a little bit left, open up a little bit, and get the ball fed a little bit to the right. Now I'm going to slow down, hook the ball even more, and I'll drift even more left. So it's... Oh, I hit the head pin. That's pretty good. But basically the idea is, especially the right-handers, they usually have more problem with the ball return, is getting around the ball return. And since that's an issue for you, learning how to walk around the ball return, it'll definitely help you, especially lane conditions where you need to get so far right so the ball return isn't an issue for you. Because right now, what you're doing is you're standing so far right and you're actually walking kind of towards your target, which makes the most sense. But in today's game, especially the power game that you have, you want to be able to get your body in the right position. But with the ball return going to be in the way, you need to be able to walk around it.
Right.
We've had Mark scoot about two dots to the left and try to keep the same target. It's going to look really funny, so hopefully you can keep it on the lane. But
Not a
That's
problem.
pretty good. One of the good things of being a good athlete.
Big advantage working with athletes.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
That was very
See how the
good.
ball skidded to the front part of the lane a lot easier?
It probably wasn't quite as strong as release as the other one, but he still had a good lift on the ball, and he walked a lot straighter to the line, so the ball return wouldn't be an issue.
There you go. Good shot.
Very nice.
It's not bad.
Felt a lot better though.
Yeah, really that's what you want to do in practice. You want to get the feeling, you want to get everything going right. The results are kind of secondary. That's really more for league and tournament play. But in practice, you're really working on your technique, trying to get everything so it's second nature. Now, he left a pretty tough split. The 4-6-10 for a left-hander or right-hander, it's basically virtually impossible. But what I recommend, either left-handed or right-handed, going for the 2 pins on the right side. For some players, if they throw it hard enough, they might be able to bounce it out of the back, but basically you want to get the 2 pins and then just take your medicine and go on. So, see how Mark does with the spare. Yeah, had a little bit more hook on it than he needed, but he was basically in the right general direction. But some people might think that you could actually slide to 6 and a 4, and technically you can. I've seen it done. I've actually done it before, but that's like a 1 in a 10,000 shot. So your odds aren't very good to keep going at it. Best thing to do, hit both the 6 and a 10 with the ball, and if you get lucky, bounce one out of the back. Let's see that strike shot again.
That's real good.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Take advantage of the lane conditions out there.
When you drift a lot into your target, your swing has to come around your body or go outside your body. By walking straighter, it can just stay, your swing can stay right under your shoulder, and you actually get more power. Came around that one a little bit. We're going to watch Walter-Ray's footwork here. You're going to notice his drift. Walter's going to drift about the same amount of bores to the left every time. Most amateurs blow 180, they tend to drift different every time. You need to know where you're standing with your left foot and kind of measure it when you slide. That way you know how much you drift. You just want to be consistent. There's not one special number. You don't want to get it more than 5 probably, but you want to keep it fairly consistent. That way shot to shot, you throw the ball much more consistent. If you get your drift a little more consistent, you can have results like that. All right, Walter is going to shoot a 10-pin here. You're going to hear it roll over the thumb hole. Try to hit between the 6 and the 10.
Well, Mark, thanks for coming on.
My pleasure.
And I think we helped you out a
Thanks
little
for
bit. Hopefully you can give Tom some good matches.
If it'll help me beat Tom Candiotti, I will be a very happy man.
Well, thanks.
Mark, thanks.
Well, Mark, we've been working with quite a few different players, lots of different ability levels. You notice some general faults that we've had?
Usually the number one fault in bowling is consistency, whether it's consistency of hitting your target or having a constant release. By trying to get their arm swing and their footwork and their balance all to match up, all the bowlers got better.
And hopefully the viewers at home who are watching this video can take the tips we've given these players, incorporate that in their own game, and improve their game with good solid practice.